Does that make sense? I've got a big issue with this question. It fills space, it's weak, and it's a waste of a fantastic opportunity to either check someone's understanding or give us that feedback that we can move on to our next point. What I'm about to show you in this video is ways that you can replace this with something way more powerful, so that you can give people the confidence to ask questions and the confidence to give you key information so that you can do your job as a leader that allows you to get that feedback, to know that you've delivered your point well, and then move on to the next thing. So let's replace this empty question with something way more powerful. When you replace, does that make sense, and you're consciously being more aware of your language, your results will dramatically improve. Does that make sense? We're checking to see what else needs to be talked about. Rather than, does that make sense, we can ask, what questions do you have? Then we can pause and we can wait, because often silence is vastly underused in any form of communication. Allow the other person to respond. If they say no question, then you know you can move on. Or they might just ask something that they've been mulling over in their mind. Maybe they think it's a stupid question, but it ends up being really important. Another way that you can approach this is you can say, what have I missed? And again, you can allow the person or allow the room to give you a response that's productive. They might give you some information that ends up being really important, or they'll ask a question that then the answer improves their confidence, which is great for you. Then on the other side, we have it almost in a public speaking setting when we're teaching or we're giving points of information, and we just want to make sure that we can move on to the next thing in our presentation. Maybe there's no opportunity for questions to be asked. But what we can do, rather than sort of deliver our point and go, does that make sense? And just sort of stand there like that, is we can say things like, nod if you understand. Now, I've done this before many times when I've been at the front of a room speaking to many people all at once, and it's great because you get that feedback. The people who understand, they're there, they're nodding. You can sort of gauge who's involved, maybe where you need to put more attention afterwards, who you need to speak to about it afterwards to make sure that they understand. But if you can't have questions in that moment, nod if you understand is a fantastic question that will give you way more than, does that make sense? Because sometimes people don't want to say no because it might make them feel stupid. So nod along if you understand. If they don't, that's pretty safe for them. And then we can use our non-verbal communication. If we're presenting at the front of the room, we might say something like, who follows? And put our hand up like this. And then those that follow will nod or they'll raise their hand slightly. But remember, when you're presenting anything at the front of the room, your actions, your movements need to be way bigger because everybody else is going to sort of water theirs down. So if you ask everybody to put their hand up like this, most of them will just sort of do that. It'll always be less than what you've done. So if you don't do it convincingly, then they won't follow along and they won't feel like they want to put their hand up. So front of the room, who follows? Great. Let's get on to the next point. Now, this will improve your influence and improve your communication. It will improve your delivery of any teaching that you do, whether it's one-to-one or in a room. And it will just level up the way that you present information. So replace this meaningless, weak, empty question or phrase that just fills space, time and air, and put one of those that I've suggested in this video in its place. Your results will dramatically improve. Thank you for watching. If you like this sort of thing, then subscribe to the channel because I make videos to help you with your leadership and communication and just how to step up your information delivery all of the time. Thanks for watching.